2024 was a difficult year. I think there's some years where you win tremendously, but there's some other years where you build character and you build capability, you build skills. And I think 2024 for us, it was a year of building skills and building character for sure.
And we ended up winning the whole Arizona chapter by raising over $200,000 for the furthering of research of blood cancers.
So proud of you for that.
From there, I got my first land deal.
$36,000 in profit.
Oh yeah.
There are so many things that went well with our year. Even as I was, talking to you here right now, I realized, there's so many other things that did go well that are preparing us for an amazing comeback in 2025. Get ready for the next iteration of you on your path to becoming wealthy. On this show, you'll get the insider's view on wealth creation, the class none of us got taught in school, with my co-host, daughter, and beginning investor, Sophia Bosch. And now, let's get started.
Welcome to the Becoming Wealthy podcast. I'm your host, Sophia Bosch, and I'm with my co-host,
Michelle Bosch.
And
also known as Mom.
Yes, Mama. And today we're going to talk about our 2024 recap.
Yeah, it's a 2024 recap, and it's also I would say the preparations that we've been taking so that 2025 can be a comeback year and a comeback season for us. So how was 2024 for you, Sophia? It's yet 12 months, a 12-month period of recording, coming in here weekly into the studio, making this happen, meeting guests, school, extracurriculars. Tell me, how was your 2024?
Well, let's start off with the podcast, I guess.
Okay.
I feel like I've tremendously improved my communication skills, the articulation of words, anything in that realm. I feel more confident when I speak. I catch myself speaking to teachers easier, speaking to friends, getting my point across easier. It's all been very helpful for me.
Well, that's amazing. That's, I think,
How
a
about
win.
you?
That's a win. I have to say that I have thoroughly enjoyed, just spending time with you. I started this podcast with you so that we could be very intentional about the time that we would be spending together. And I think we have been very intentional. There's been, some wisdom that may have gone in and out, in one ear, out the other, but maybe some other that has really stuck. And more than anything, I think I love that you are saying that just the exercise of actually doing the episodes and showing up basically has built your presence verbally and also just physically when you present yourself, that you're speaking with much more confidence.
Yes, I did an interview the other day for my independent study, and I interviewed a artist.
Yeah.
And that whole conversation with him, I felt very comfortable going into it because I have all this practice from the podcast.
Yeah.
So.
You also interviewed the curator of the
curator, but that was in person too. So I had another level of
engagement or
engagement, but also I needed to be even more present and be aware of my facial expressions, my body language. Like it was another level on top of that rather than just being on Zoom and sitting in my fun pink chair.
Yes, absolutely. So podcast wise, so that's basically, I love, the win on that. What about on the academic side, on the school side? How was 2024?
Hold on. How about let's go into you.
Okay. So, for me, let's see. So I already spoke about the podcast and I love, the guests, the things that we learn from the guests and the time that we spent together. If I was to say professionally, which would be the equivalent of your academics, in school, I would say that 2024 was a difficult year, I think, and I think I'm not alone when I say that, not just in our land flipping business, but in our multifamily and also in our education business. It was not an easy year. And many people in the entrepreneurial world are feeling that it's not a phenomenon that was just happening to us, in our respective businesses. It was a global phenomenon. Everyone was experiencing that incredible levels of uncertainty, and being able to like kind of like be like a person with, 8 different arms, and holding all kinds of things together
Yeah.
was important. So it was a year where I think there's some years where you win tremendously, but there's some other years where you build character and you build capability, you build skills. And I think 2024 for us, it was a year of building skills and building character for sure. It wasn't an easy year. And but I'm excited because in the second half of 2024, we've been basically working on things, on restructuring, all three businesses, on innovating more than anything, and bringing new things, to the marketplace. And innovation usually is the one thing that helps you short circuit, the seasons of business. Actually, let me take a moment to explain to you, like, a business usually goes through like a startup phase,
Mhm.
which I like to call like the infancy, like when you're a baby. Then there's kind of like a phase when you're a teenager. There's maturity, and then there's decline. Yeah. And in each of these stages, you have to innovate because you brought something new or thought about a new idea. You start a business, but as you become a teenager, you're having different complexities. You start bringing team, and you need to innovate again. And when you're in a mature stage, you have to innovate again. And if you don't innovate, especially there, the business usually declines. So innovation is kind of like something that is very important, for businesses in general. And this was basically second half of 2024 where there was a lot of innovation happening in preparation for 2025 to become a comeback season. And it was important for me to not just be focused in the business, but also to step kind of outside of the business and join a specific group, for example, that I join, that really helped me think outside the box. That would be the equivalent of your extracurriculars, for example, what I'm talking about. And just being part of this group and being part of this brain trust and being part of the frequency of the people that are doing things there, not because it's a career, uh, that you're doing just for money. Usually people in a career, when things are going great, they lean in to it. But when things are not going so great and things are hard, they kind of like check out, and actually quit. And that's not what this group is about that I joined. It's a group where they understand that there's growth and evolution over a lifetime. And most of the people in that group are very like vocation oriented, meaning that they know that they're here for a bigger purpose and that their gifts are here to be basically deployed and utilized. And were people that in a very difficult year I could see were in their God zone. And it was important for me, to be around those people so that I could enter into my own God zone, which means creator mode and innovation mode, to think outside the box about new things to roll out in 2025. And yeah, it was an interesting year, a fascinating experience from that perspective of joining this new group of people completely different in a completely different industries. So yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
What about you on the extracurricular side?
Well, honestly, overall though, my year was pretty successful. Like it was you touched on the fact that like you could have a year full of growth and you're learning those skills and you can have a very successful. I think I had both.
Yeah, wonderful.
In the sense that um the first part of the year I was running a campaign.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
Ended
the
up
7 week
yeah, the
thing.
7-week campaign from January to March.
And that was for the Leukemia and Lymphoma
Lymphoma
Society.
Society.
Yeah.
And we ended up winning the whole Arizona chapter by raising over $200,000
Yeah.
for the furthering of research of blood cancers.
So proud of you for that.
Yeah. And so from there, that was my first win. From there, I got my first land deal.
Yeah. $36,000 in profits. Whoop, whoop.
Oh yeah. And then that was the end. Okay,
That was April.
That was April. And then May was like end of school. I got good grades.
Yeah.
So that like I got straight A's all year. My teacher said some wonderful things about me, so I'm very happy. And then summer started. I had probably the best summer I've had in my life.
A summer in which you bloom, I think.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun this summer.
Okay.
I did a like what's it called? Summer camp at Oxford. For 2 weeks. Met some of the most amazing people. What else? Okay, then in August, starting in September, that whole coming back to school, it was a little rough, but I found some great people.
What was the rough part about it?
Just getting used to it. Getting used to school all again and going every day, waking up early in this constant like rotation that but I'm taking some really fun classes, like my economics class.
Yeah.
And then my independent study this semester, which spanned the whole semester. And I set up like a whole gallery at my school for a certain like class. It was great. Overall,
You had a little bit of a hard season in physics at the beginning of the
oh yeah, physics, but then I figured it out.
back too.
Yeah, I had to come back. My grade had to come back for sure. It was definitely borderline. It was borderline failing. And then now it's my highest grade in over the all my classes.
Yeah.
So
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So congrats on that one too. I would.
yeah. So overall, it's been a good year, and I've learned a lot.
But see, within the year, you've had moments or little periods of
Yeah.
time that have been, that have sculpted your soul,
Yeah.
right? And that those hard times and those hard moments, I think if we look at them as, as leaders, as moments where you're just basically building capacity to come back stronger than ever. I think, and you're surrounded, or you invest in yourself, with a coach, or you had a tutor and so on.
Oh yeah.
If you invest in yourself in those hard moments, when others would think, for example, even in business, when you're having a low revenue year, most business owners tend to completely contract and shrink, and instead of going out there and investing in themselves, or investing in putting themselves in an environment like the one that I put myself in with that mastermind, they kind of shrink because they think it's insane, and it should be actually the opposites. That's the time where you need to invest in yourself, where you need to basically put in the work, and to be able to come out on the other side. I know that from just now being in business over 20 something years, that having experienced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows with all kinds of issues, that go from betrayals, lawsuits, people in our team that I absolutely love and adore that we lost, because they just had other visions for their life, which I totally respect, and so on and so forth. Like, from having the lowest of lowest to the highest at highest, I know and I understand that 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 is the nature of business, that is what builds resilience, that's what builds grit, that it is to be expected, that it is to be anticipated, that just like there's spring, there will be winter, and that winter time is sometimes times to release, to let go, to really reprioritize and reorganize, and come back stronger, to kind of like start blooming in the spring again. And for you, in some of your, of the things that you went through this year, that happened, in a month, where you went from, sculpting period, or a hard season, to a season where you were on the other side of that. So That is amazing, Sophia. So what else happened this year? What about socially?
Socially, it started off pretty terrible and then it went better. So we're good.
There you go. There you go. There you go. And that has taught you that what has that taught you? That your people are where? Where are your people?
Your people are, um, well, if you express who you truly are, your people will be there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like kind of like a like shine your weird and so that the other people that have your kind of weird and you're kind of crazy can spot you from a
Yeah.
distance.
Oh, I forgot also, I started a club at my school. Like, it's been good.
Yeah. What was that club about? What is it for?
Financial literacy.
Oh wow. What have you guys done there?
We have taught people how to budget or made them aware of all the spendings that they probably,
The cost of their lives.
yeah,
Well,
made
of their
them
lives
aware
are on their parents.
on their parents. So if they can drive, so like gas costs, how many times do you go to Starbucks a month? Like, how much do you buy from the cafe? Those things are way overpriced. It's like a bag of chips for $3 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Not great. Like tiny bag. Anyways, um we just made them aware and then we also brought.
Can I tell you, did you know that most likely that is a vending company and
I know they're getting most of the money.
yeah, it's like it's a profit center for someone, either the school or whoever the school is allowing to,
Yeah.
put the vending machines there. Anyways, go for it.
What else? Oh, we brought in the CEO
Uh-huh.
of the Scottsdale Community Bank here in town,
Oh, wow.
to talk to us a little bit about banking,
Uh-huh.
what it how do banks even work, especially like a smaller private bank like the Scottsdale Community Bank. Um, what else? We've done a few other meetings and it's been good
Yeah.
gathering. And we always seem to see the same faces, so we know who's really interested.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. What else? Any other great things that happened during the year or lessons that you learned this year?
Honestly, yes, we're talking about all our struggles and it's good to look at them, but I feel like we also spend a little too much time looking at them, in my opinion, that we forget all the good things. Like, I was so caught up on some of the struggles that I was facing throughout this year that I totally, like, this probably sounds bad, but I totally forgot that I did so many amazing things this year that you really have to celebrate your wins
Yeah,
also.
absolutely, absolutely. That spirit and that frequency of gratitude, what you appreciate appreciates more, and it's sometimes we take so many things for granted. They're in a field of kind of like predictability that if something like big and new isn't happening in our life, we think we don't think to be
Yeah.
grateful for the little small things that are happening every day that are going great in our life. We like actually starting all of our team meetings with something we call the positive outlook, Sophia, exactly for that. And that's why I wanted us to also, even though this year, for me personally, from a career standpoint has been, or from a business standpoint has been difficult. I always like to basically recap it and talk about the good things that did happen. And like for example, Papa was able to, with the help of our team, take an entire 2 months off over the summer, for him to walk the first month of those 2 months, doing the Camino de Santiago, and completely disconnect, which is something that he hadn't done in at least almost 2 decades. Yeah.
Probably more.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was for sure
Yeah.
a win, for us. The ability for us to have that month, as a family over the break to really connect. I know one of those 4 weeks, you were, or 2 of those weeks, you were actually in Oxford, but
Yeah, and then 2 of those weeks he left me in Germany, which I had fun there.
no, we didn't leave you for 2 weeks.
In Germany?
No, it was just like a week.
No, it was 2. Uh, no, but I loved spending time with family, and I got to take some solo trips around.
Yeah, and otherwise, I mean, you have also had the opportunity to attend so many concerts. It feels like, oh, well, yeah. See, you start thinking about it, and you're like, wow, yeah, it's been a year of absolute fun. Yeah, it's just
Yeah, it was fun.
yeah. So it's interesting, to contrast our experiences, and a lot of what you have gone through. Yeah, there's been some difficulties, some things that have absolutely sucked, but there's some other things that have been great in your year as well. The same for me. So in terms of my health also, I have been feeling so much better. I feel like I have finally put the last, well, one of the last, pieces of the puzzle together when it comes to nutrition, and so that I can feel nourished and energetic, and that combined with, um,
I know, I see you
good
drinking that
sleep
whole
habits,
gallon of
gallons of water
That's
to make
great.
sure that I'm hydrated, hormones, and exercise, and so on and so forth, making sure that I'm taking my supplements, and stacking basically habit over habit over habit of just good things, um, coming into my life, so that that can be the foundation of really, of my true wealth, being that health. And
And your energy is also has gone up. I realized that yesterday, even though you were a little bit squirrel mind, but so was I, sitting there helping me with my edit my English essay.
yeah.
We sat there for 3 hours, and I don't think you realized that, and sure, you might have needed to take a nap, but a couple years ago, that energy
Was not there.
would have been maybe 30 minutes?
Yeah. And the ability to just concentrate would have been maybe 30
Yeah.
to 60 minutes for that.
Especially, but
On a
I
subject that is so dry,
yeah,
I'm not interested in.
exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. It was like it's more like 30 minutes because you weren't interested.
Yeah. Yeah. It's basically, well, there was one book that I had actually read in
A
high
great
school, The
Gatsby.
Great Gatsby, but the other two I hadn't read. But once you started telling me about them, I started getting into it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get this and what we're trying to do here. But yeah, so you even can see the
A
the
win for
improvement.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have seen the improvements. What about in any forgetfulness? Do you think that has improved? 'Cause that was
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
yeah. Oh, that's good.
Overall, I think yes. There you have your moments, but
That's wonderful to hear. I think we all do.
yeah.
It could be age, but it could be still. I think the body continuing to purge, Lyme, and getting rid
Yeah.
of it. With all the medications and supplementations that I have been, taking, and also plus, the mold meds, against mold, and so
Yeah,
on and
all
so
of it.
forth. So all of it, yeah. So that's pretty much what I wanted us to talk about, Sophia, and I'm glad that in this conversation we talked a little bit about, these 4 seasons, of a business, which, infancy, teenage, maturity, and decline, or periods of spring and winter that all businesses, really go through. And sometimes we forget, when we have online businesses, or when we have an industry and a niche such as land, um, within real estate, that people forget that, other businesses out there in the world do experience,
The
these
same.
different phases, and that there's, and it's important to tap in those times, to not retract in terms of investing in yourself and investing in being part of groups, um, that you can kind of like tap into that brain trust and that intelligence and that network, and those strategies that might be working for them, and kind of like cross pollinate and bring them from other industries into your industry, and think make those things work, and actually not just survive through a period, but actually thrive in reorganizing, so thank you for the for doing this recap with me,
Yeah.
giving ourselves an opportunity to have some reflection time, and really look at how the year really went. Sometimes, because some things are hard, they stand out because it seems like they create more pain and suffering. But there are so many things that went well with our year. Even as I was talking to you here right now, I realized, oh, there's these so many other things that did go well that are preparing us for an amazing comeback in 2025. So
Yeah.
to cheers to comebacks.
Yeah.
Cheers to an amazing 2025. And is there a word for 2025 that will be kind of like your North Star and guiding you as you go through the year? I always have like a kind of like a word for the year.
Hmm.
And I'm wondering what.
Hold on. Let me think. This is on the spot.
Yeah.
Give me a second. You go first.
Okay, so for me, it's gonna be energetics. If anything that I can say has been the biggest factor in not feeling like the weight of the world was crushing me, was being surrounded in this group of this mastermind that I joined in, I think, in August. um and really being and tapping into the energetics of that group, the frequency in which that group is operating, um in terms of gratitude, in terms of excitement, in terms of fun, in terms of possibilities. And it was just really truly unique. And I think in business we so often talk about team, the business, the processes, the strategies, the marketing, the sales, the this, the that, but very few times do we really talk about the energetic, that kind of like that spark that I think leaders need to have in order for their teams to also enter kind of like this field of potentiality of what is possible, and be excited about not just the present and what we're doing in the present to prepare for the future, but also the future, and have something really tangible to look forward. It's so I would say it's this energetics is something so intangible that I almost never hear it being talked about. It's all about what's the next funnel that's gonna help you crush your business. What's the next lead gen, tactic that is working right now. But very few people talk about this, and I think it's so crucial and so important. So that's gonna be my word for 2025. It's gonna be um energetics, and just being mindful of that and being vigilant of it. Because how you feel dictates what you think about, and dictates how you approach anything in life. What about your word?
Okay, I was sitting here and thinking about it, and I came up with openness.
Okay.
So opening myself up to different perspectives, different opinions, opening myself up to opportunities, opening myself up to friendships, connections,
Mm-hmm.
um,
I love it. Openness.
different concepts, everything.
I love it. I am so excited for you. It sounds like a grand adventure. When I hear openness, it's like I see like this, I don't know, this sphere of white light that is basically expanding and growing around you, and you're kind of like stepping into it, and there's amazing things ahead. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Awesome. So um excited to come to you all on another episode. This is our pretty much our episode wrapping up 2024, and so appreciative and grateful of everyone that has been listening, that has been tuning in, and that is coming on this adventure with us into 2025. We are excited to hear about what your comebacks are going to be, especially during this time of the holidays, of reflection, and looking forward to being of service and inspiring you on another season of becoming wealthy in 2025. Thank you very much for tuning in.